MMAjunkie Radio back in your life on a Tuesday, April 18th. April 18th. April 18th. Why am I saying that? If you haven't done your taxes, you're in trouble. You need to get that done. I've had my bouts with taxes, but I got mine done yesterday. Did you do yours yet, Sam?
I did mine this morning.
Damn.
So I was up early this morning crunching the numbers, trying to make sure I don't owe too much. But yeah, that two-job life, you always owe a little something.
I gotcha. Today's program, we will have Sam Alvey. He competes against Dallas Late this Saturday, UFC Fight Night 108. And we'll have Jason Mayhem Miller. He hosts a podcast now. So he's going to talk a little bit about his podcast. Has a grappling tournament coming up as well. I wish I would have started this podcast a little bit earlier because Sam and I were having a good conversation about traveling. And Sam wasn't here last Tuesday. So, for those of you who don't know, he was in Iceland. So he was telling me about his trip to Iceland, and we were talking about what travel can do for people and some of the places that we've been to. And he was blowing me away, man, with some of the stories of some of the places he's been to. We've said it on the show. What is that, George?
Another instrument?
Oh, a triangle? Oh, man. Were you there when Tommy played the triangle?
No.
I have a buddy, one of my best friends, who had done... I was always in the choir, and he was always in the band. And I would always try and get him to come over and be in the choir. That way we could hang out.
1 minute.
And he would never do it. He was like, no, I've just been in band too long. And finally they had a joint concert with the band and the choir. So we're singing our asses off. Then we stop, and then the band does their thing. And I'm like, here we go. I get to see what this dude's been doing all these years. Man, that fool had the triangle. He hit that thing like 3 times the whole song. The whole song. All those years led up to triangle.
30 seconds.
Then we sang our song, then back to the band, and now he's got a new instrument. I think it's called the xylophone. It was one where he was hitting it, and he was like ding, 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 and then he just kept hitting the wood on accident. I never let him live that down. Bishop Gorman, huh?
10 seconds. Here we go.
10 seconds.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me as always is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host, and back east, he'll handle the producing duties today, Sam the Man. What's up, guys?
What up? Sam's back.
From Iceland.
What
Yeah.
up?
Everybody nice in Iceland to you?
Very nice. Very helpful people. The Scandinavian people are the shit.
Oh, yeah? Did you stand out, though, a little, kind of?
Oh, did I stand out? The darkest thing in Iceland was me.
I'm thinking like Justin Wren when he goes to the Congo, right?
You know, I had a good story about that. Eves Edwards.
About Justin Wren?
No, about he went to Russia. 'Cause he
Okay.
had to corner someone, I think, in a Bodog event or something like that.
hmm
And he said that he was the only black guy there.
Wow.
He said it was really, really weird.
Huh. How many black people did you see there? Black skinned people did you see there?
I counted 3.
Okay.
And,
And now you were there for a
what,
week.
Well, no, I was there only for like 28 hours.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, I arrived Monday morning at like 7 a.m. and I was out of there Tuesday afternoon.
Damn.
Oh.
A
What?
quick trip.
Well, you did the Blue Lagoon and all that?
Oh yeah, I did the Blue Lagoon. I would highly recommend that to everyone out there. If they get a chance to go to Iceland, Blue Lagoon is the thing to do.
I thought Sam was like taking off a whole week to go to Iceland.
I wish I had that kind of vacation time.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, you headed back, or did you see what you needed to see?
I would go back. They have other spots similar to the Blue Lagoon that allegedly are better according to the locals. So I would go back for that. Plus they have the thing called the Northern Lights where the sky does like a funky little
Right.
natural light show and stuff like that. So I would go back to go check that out.
Now, are we referencing Blue Lagoon, the movie, or is this something else that I'm just not aware of?
Blue Lagoon is a hot spring outdoor spa that is a high tourist attraction.
And you went.
And I was definitely up in there, yeah.
Okay. Huh. Cool. What was the temperature in Iceland when you were there? Guess they're
It was
exiting
about
exiting winter and entering spring, right?
Yeah, it was extremely cold, very windy. So I was bundled up. But when you go to the hot spring, you get into the water. It's like 120 degrees in the water. So your face is like, 15 degrees, but the rest of your body is like 120.
That's hot. That's very hot.
Yeah, very hot. But
Wow.
it felt so good because it was so cold outside.
Okay. All right. All right, folks. Gonna be a fun show today. I want to see where people are leaning here on some of the top news I see on MMA Junkie. The UFC boss, Dana White, says if Jones is ready, referencing John Jones, he'll rematch Cormier in July. But he's talking about July 29th in Anaheim, not International Week, because I think there's a suspension that just happens to overlap their International Fight Week. So on a technicality, by a few days, he would not be eligible. I believe that's the case. Cormier was on our show recently, and he said he wanted to chill a little bit. And he said he's going to make these decisions. But to me, it sounded like he was leaning more towards outside of July. Like, after July, he was going to start his process of thinking. Although
They
the 29th
flip-flop a
came
lot.
up, and I suppose he didn't really completely shut that down. However, look at that story, the UFC ball. Anytime Dana White speaks, it's news. It's traditional good traffic on any website. Ask any website. That one got 3.6 thousand shares. I don't know what the page views are. I could find out, but it's not important. But check out the Cormier-Manuwa Twitter sparring, which continued. There was a version 1 after Manuwa's appearance on our show last week. I guess it was over the weekend. I don't know. And then there was a part 2. And that one's got almost 6,000 shares. So basically almost double. For those that didn't like the way Jones performed against OSP, he was rusty and all that. I guess if you're a Jones fan, it may not be the end of the world if Cormier and Manuwa kind of, jump on this hot potato right now. There's a lot of buzz around this, and they're both kind of building up a fight. And so maybe if they can do that, and Jones takes a fight, and therefore maybe gets a little bit of that rust off, and we see a Cormier and Jones matchup at the end of the year, that might not be a bad scenario. Cormier also noted that when Jones beat OSP, remember he was the announcer, and he told him, "Man, I would have beat you tonight." In other words, he has respect for Jones. He's told him as much. Obviously, he lost to him, but he felt like, boy, that was a terrible Jones. Like, he honestly would have taken that one. He seemed to have no doubts. He may want to just jump on getting Jones back after a year, after all these troubles that he's had, this, that, whatever. Anyway, what do you want to see?
If I'm John Jones,
Not
not only is it
Okay, go
about
ahead.
getting my own rust off, but if I can add another training camp on Daniel Cormier, who's getting up there in age, make him go through another pounding on his body, and possibly another tough fight, I'd put it on him. before you're just softening him up, right? Before you get to him. I'd do it. Why not?
What does Goes want to see? Goes the fan.
Goes wants to see John Jones come in and perform and show us that he'll show up, that he'll take it seriously before I get my hopes up high of watching him fight Cormier again.
How about Cormier and Manoa on the same fight card as Jones and the winner of Ozdemir and Sirknikov, or Gustafsson and Teixeira, especially if it's Gustafsson, because even though he beat Gustafsson, it was such a great fight. We've all wanted to see a part 2.
Oh, versus the winner.
Right. So the winner of either of those 2 fights, kind of whoever shines the best. Because Sirknikov, I think, has won 3 or 4 in a row, so he would really have an impressive record.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? But if you have those 4, then you have your insurance in case Manoa or Cormier don't make it to the dance. I hate saying that because I feel like it's a jinx, but you know what I mean? You have some light heavyweights there ready to step in.
Man, I don't know if they would do, especially if it was Gustafsson. I don't know if they would do that. That's a
Gustafsson
big
and Jones?
risk.
It is, but that's the level they're at. They're all big risks. Look at Maya. What are you doing? You should be fighting Woodley. But he's taking on Masvidal. Apparently, that's what the UFC wanted. I wondered why he didn't just sit back and go, well, I'm good. Woodley, when you ready to go? I'm next, Instead, he's taking that, and look at the dice that he's rolling. Jacare, same position. He wasn't next. There was a couple quarters on the video game, on the arcade game in front of his, Romero's. Mousasi had just made some noise, but even Mousasi had deferred to Jacare because, remember, he got submitted by Jacare it was under 3 years ago, but over 2 years ago. So he obviously knew he wasn't going to be, in any type of position, so he rolled the dice and fought Whitaker, and now Whitaker's got that quarter up. So there's arguments for both sides. I'd like to know, Junkie Nation, what you think. Do you want to see Jones and Cormier right away, or would you rather see some appetizers like Cormier and Manoa, Jones versus someone else, maybe even on the same card, and then end the year strong?
You brought up...
Because it also helps the health of 205 kind of give those other guys a little bit of a stage, you know what I mean? Granted, Jones could be shutting down one of these potential superstars if you go the Ozdemir, Sirknikov. I think that one's too soon, but I think maybe Gustafsson Jones too would be pretty interesting. I don't know. I was thinking about how light heavyweight can rejuvenate itself a little.
I think the UFC is probably a little shocked at how much traction Cormier Manoa has gotten in the last 3 days. When you think about it, when they first kind of did the bickering, from the cage to the seats, I was kind of like, I don't know. They're trying to force us onto this. But the more and more they've gone at it, and I thought Manoa killed it here in that seat right there, I'm starting to get into it.
Me too.
And I think if they can generate that kind of interest for that fight, I think you strike while you have it. So
yeah.
I would probably, if I'm them, I would probably try and make that happen. But a name you brought up, Tyron Woodley, what do you think of that? He said he's starting camp.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's it for, though? Is it really for Conor McGregor?
Well, I think if Conor doesn't fight Floyd, he'll be so pissed that he didn't, and that anger will be directed towards the UFC, that I don't believe he'll fight anytime soon for the UFC. But I think he'll circle back because I told you, man, a lot of these athletes pissed through that money. And the more we're finding out about that 3-day bender in Liverpool, some money's being spent. Now, granted, Conor's pretty sharp, and he charges for everything. If you say hello to him, he may ask to stick his hand out. Mm-hmm. But so he could survive for a while, but I think some of that may have to do because he's going to be a pop soon. Who knows? Plus, a lot of it's attributed to his friends, but apparently, allegedly, his some hotel room got trashed, and some of that nitrous gas, the laughing gas was found, some canisters, and him standing on a car, him sitting in a tree, him at an after-hours party at a house. Who knows what the hell's going on in that kid's brain.
If McGregor-Mayweather doesn't happen, whose fault would you think it was? Conor, the UFC, or Floyd? Who would you put the blame on it for not happening? I think it definitely wouldn't be Conor. Because I feel like if his back was to the wall and he was going to make less money, he would still do it because it's going to be more money than what he's ever made. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's going to be the issue. If it were Floyd, it wouldn't shock me just because he's already got a ton of money There's not really that much to gain other than maybe an easy paycheck. I think the blame would probably be on the UFC if it didn't happen. It would probably be that their number was so high that both sides just couldn't come to an agreement.
All right, let's just call it side
Who do
A
you
and B.
think?
All right, let's start with that. So Floyd's side A,
Okay.
and Conor / the UFC side B.
Okay.
So right away, the other day we were saying 200 million's available. We are just throwing round numbers out, and we gave 100 million to Floyd and 100 million to the other guys. But that was me being generous, because even Floyd is probably going to say it ain't 50-50. Let's just say that all he wants to do is be more. So we'll go with 60-40, right? You know, he'll the other two sides are going to be arguing over 40% of what's left of that purse. So Conor can't make that money without Floyd. People say Floyd needs the money. I'm still not so sure. It sounds like he's pretty set. Like, I mean, he spends, but I think money is also generated in different ways. Although I still question that too. So, and the UFC is just saying, listen, man, you're an MMA fighter. Like, we have you tied down. You can't do anything without us. So, I think you want the majority of the blame. I can't say one person will have all the blame, but I think the majority of the blame may reside with Conor, because I think he's going to feel like he should be 50-50 for starters. So just giving into that's going to be a struggle. And then not being able to give the UFC the ability for them to make money, not realizing that without them, he can't even take the fight to begin with.
You think he would piss it all away? I think he'd put up one hell of a fight, but when he's backed into the corner, I think he'd say, all right,
well, it'll still be
making
more.
This chunk
Yeah.
is maybe not this chunk,
Yeah.
but it's way more than
Let's
this
say his
chunk.
last few fights have been 10 or 15 million or whatever. I bet you this one, the UFC will go, look, man, you're still making more, 20. He'll wonder why he's not making 100, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So if it doesn't happen, I just feel like he's got the two little battles to fight. Whereas Mayweather says, look what I made in my last couple fights. Throw the Berto fight out. That one only made $500,000. But prior to that, he was pretty much in the millions. And then the Pacquiao fight was $4 million. Yeah, I think the UFC is probably going to want a little bit more than they should be getting. I mean, they're just kind of like, hey, we're the promoters here, you know.
They have a lot to
when in
lose.
reality, I think Mayweather's doing all the promotion. Like, it'll be under his promotion banner. They're just kind of going, we're letting him go. We're letting him fight. For that, we need a fee. So, I don't know how reasonable they'll be.
Can we ask that question of everyone today?
Sure.
I want to know, if it doesn't happen, who would you guess the blame would be on? The UFC, Mayweather, or Conor?
And
I'm going to
also-
say, I would say the blame would end up on the UFC. I think Conor could put everything aside.
Oh, the fans
to
will
make
blame
money.
the UFC, for
And
sure.
and I think Floyd could, I think Floyd is his stance. Maybe he could bend a little bit, but I think it would, the holdup would be the UFC, I think, if it didn't happen.
Yeah. Conor just seems a little hard-headed at times. I like the way he laughs it off, and once business happens, it happens, and he attributes it to business. But there's just a couple times where I feel like, did you think that one through?
Maybe.
Anyway, I also want to know what you think of Jones and Cormier. Should it be next, or do you want to see that fight build and maybe do Cormier Manuel? Because as of right now, Jones is still disqualified from anything really. You can't license him, you can't promote him. I think he still has to have, asking for the license in Nevada. We'll see how that goes. I feel like there's still a lot there, whereas I like keeping the champions active. And DC, he hasn't fought much recently because of an injury he had, a fallout of a fight that he had. Well, I guess the Anderson Silva fight's there, but I remember one year he fought like 3 times in 10 months, and then after that it's been like, prior to the Manuel fight, I think I was saying once in 18 months, but it had been a while. At least it felt that way. I want to see him stay active, and you got a hot commodity in Manuel, run it. All right.
I'm okay with him because he's got the side gig with Fox
Mhm.
that keeps him busy as well. So he keeps a pretty hectic schedule. I think he does good for having that schedule. He was just at the last card. He just fought. He had every
I
right to
know.
go. I'm going to
I'll
the
sit
Bahamas
this one
for a
out.
month.
Yeah. Today we'll catch up with Sam Alvey and Jason Mayhem Miller, both in the second hour. Right now we're going to jump on the phone lines. I see Cousin Nick back at it. What's up, Cousin Nick from Iowa?
Morning, men. Let's get right to it. I think John Jones should take a fight when he comes back before fighting for the title, if that's fair. if nothing else, to make sure that his best when he fights for the title. I want the best John Jones versus the best DC for the title. In the meantime, is anybody opposed to DC taking a fight at heavyweight? Doesn't have
Not
to
at
cut
all.
the weight.
Are you opposed?
Not a physical drain on him so much.
Well, it's interesting. That's going to be a little topic that I do want to discuss. But go ahead, guys. Are you opposed to it?
I'm opposed to it only because I think he's starting to close the gap on John Jones. I think he's really comfortable in the cage, and I'd hate to get a lesser version of Daniel Cormier because he went up to heavyweight
and took some
screwed it
damage.
all up. Yeah.
Understandable, yeah. If Jones were to get in some more trouble, Cousin Nick, or just not be able to rebound from all of his troubles, and so he goes out and fights Manoa and there's no one else clear-cut waiting for him, then at that point I could see him going to heavyweight and finishing out as a heavyweight. But I think Goes is right. You got something brewing here that could be maybe even a trilogy if Cormier can get the second fight, and I'd hate to see that ruined by him losing at heavyweight or getting starched at heavyweight.
Yeah, just a thought. But in the meantime, if he took that Jimmy Manoa fight, I wouldn't blame him for. It's a favorable matchup to him. He's got the belt, makes the money. He feels for it. I wouldn't blame him for taking the fight. If the McGregor fight doesn't happen, it's got to be the UFC's fault, man. They've got to be clinging to him for dear life at this point. And I think unless we hear otherwise, you'd have to assume it'd be the UFC's fault if the McGregor Mayweather fight falls apart.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling in, my man.
Have a great day.
I could see that. I could see a lot of the blame lying with them, depending on how much they'll want of this cut. Because again, it's just a fee. I think they'll do their fair share of promoting.
It's not a fee. You're also risking the fact that dude may just go, "This payday was great. I never want to do this again." MMA. I think that really is a risk. I really do.
Yeah, I guess.
So I think whatever that price tag is, you have to factor.
But he could leave any time. Any
losing.
one of their stars could leave any time. So I think they know that.
Yeah. But they're in a time where they just lost Ronda Rousey. I mean, there's a lot on the line, man. That dude is carrying the UFC.
So here's what I was thinking about. Ben Folks wrote an article about Jacare. What should he have done? Or what could he have done? And instead of taking Whitaker, could he have said, "I'll take a fun fight"? And by that I mean maybe go up to light heavyweight. Now, you just brought up a good point. You're fighting a bigger guy. What if he puts the hammer on you and next thing you're out? But so by doing that, he kind of leaves his status as a top middleweight and he doesn't risk the loss to another middleweight, but yet he goes out there and maybe fights someone else, because there's a couple guys that are out there just having these fun fights. They're just jumping around, having fun. GSP's going to start to do that, I guess. Anderson's kind of doing that. Nick Diaz seems to be available. The other Diaz might seem available to it too. What about just kind of fun, safe fights for some of these guys that don't want to risk their standing?
I just don't know who you would match him up against. Like, what would you feel would be safe? I mean, every name I go through, I just think of, God, that guy's so much bigger.
Yeah, suppose you're right. Maybe undersized 205ers. Rashad, Shogun. Who knows? Shogun was brought up as a possible opponent for Jones, but
the first one was
there's such a size difference there. And Shogun insists on being a 205er, and he's been a great one, but these last few years he's been a 500 fighter. And I think Jones really, really fucked him up, man. I don't know if I want to see that one again. I haven't seen him improve enough to say, oh, yeah, the second time it should be closer. No. I don't know. Let's go to
when our good friend Rick Budo passed away, and I was going through clips and stuff. There's this interview that he did where he interviewed some people on the street, and he was asking them, who you got in Jones Shogun? And people would go, I got Jones all day, and he'd go, come on, man, he's gonna get destroyed. That would be the one clip that you would go back and go, what's up now, Rick? It was really funny, man.
Let's go to Marco in Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. Hey, first to Sam, man, I love hot springs. I've been in hot springs in Hawaii. The problem with hot springs is that the only reason there is hot springs is because they're right next to semi-active volcanoes, man. So I would be a little nervous, if I go to a hot springs because the only reason there is because there is a volcano underneath. Yellowstone. Anywhere you got a hot spring, there's a volcano somewhere. So, whatever. When it comes to John Jones, the only fight that matters is the Cormier fight. We've been waiting for the fight forever. when John Jones fought OSP, it was supposed to be Danny Cormier, and he got hurt. Then on 200, we got Dick Pilgate. Don't make me wait no more. Plus, I think Cormier, who is getting older, wants to get paid. And the only fighter that's really going to pay him is a John Jones fight. He's not going to make as close as much money with a freaking Manua. And Manua is, if he beats John Jones, he can beat Manua later. John Jones is a money fight for Cormier. He's, 39, going on 40. He needs to get paid, man. Come on, don't do Cormier wrong. McGregor and Mayweather, just because I hate the dude, I'll say Mayweather. I'll blame him for everything. He made us wait 5 years for that Pacquiao fight. So if everything goes wrong, I think he's going to find a way to fuck it up. We'll let you guys catch you guys tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you, Marco. Could be that he's right, because Mayweather will insist on being the higher paid everywhere. You know what I mean?
He holds all the cards, doesn't he, though?
In a way, he does. But could he still make a lot of money and just go, all right, 50-50, let's get the damn thing done? I don't know. It's like he insists on having that plus side on his side. That's kind of what held up the Pacquiao fight. Granted, in the end, it worked out. So one could say it's brilliant, too.
I mean, it's all
stubborn from our side because we wanted to see it 5 years before it happened. But from his side, he still got paid, and he got a lesser threatening version of Pacquiao.
Do you think there's a competitive bone left in Floyd Mayweather right now that says, I want to prove something against Conor McGregor? I think it's all about money. It really is. It doesn't have to be Conor McGregor.
That's going to be a joke of a fight, man. Boxing? Come on. At least allow the guy to throw knees or something. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
All right, let's go to one more. Proteus from Ontario, Canada. What's up, Proteus?
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Quickly, before I get into the questions, can we, moving forward, call C to the Triple B Jennifer from now on when he calls in? Because that would make my day.
Jessica.
Oh, Jessica, even better.
Yeah.
Even better. So, on this Jones thing, Cormier thing, because, like you said, George, Jones just isn't available. You can't even promote him until, after June.
July?
This Jimmy Manuel fight is looking July even better. Yeah, see? Getting worse and worse. Jimmy Manuel fight is looking better and better. I mean, if you would have asked me before 210 or just after 210, I would have said no way. But these guys, like Go said, Jimmy sold that fight to me. I was getting hyped listening to him talk and on the rage that was in his voice. So, and Marco makes a lot of sense, too. I mean, I don't know how much money that's going to make, but they can promote it. They both have big mouths, right? They can really promote that fight and make that sell. And as a greedy fan, I definitely would like to see Gus Jones, too, before we see the second Cormier fight. We can make that happen. And from the UFC's point of view, that fight's going to make a lot of money. Cormier's going to make a lot of money. And then Jones and DC can go back and forth longer. And I just think that would be just awesome to see because it was so good the first time around.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it more, and I'm really liking Cormier versus Manuel because, okay, everybody that said we got to give Cormier that payday, hey, we're just asking until the end of the year because I think late July and late December sounds like a pretty good timeline. So I really like it. I just think that Cormier started something in Buffalo, Manuel kept it going here in Vegas, and now both of them via Twitter. I just think it's something that people want to see. You know, the Euros and the UKers are doing a great job of representing themselves as mixed martial artists who can become world champions. And before they were coming up a little bit short, but now we got world champions over there on that side of the pond. So I think people will buy into the fact that if Manuel put some hands on him, maybe Cormier might go down. And obviously we know how strong Cormier is with the wrestling. So I like it. It gives us a chance to reintroduce Jones again and put them as the co-main event. I think that's a solid 1-2 punch for Anaheim, California, which needs it, man. Anaheim, California is just...
SoCal needs it.
Exactly. So, there you go. That's the matchup.
Agreed. Not to be vanilla on this, guys, but I think what you just said, George, makes sense because we did not see what we wanted to see in that DC Rumble fight. We really wanted to see DC come out and smack DC, Rumble come out and smack DC in the face, and we didn't get that. So, I think that's why this Manuel fight is so interesting, guys. And just to weigh in on McGregor, I think UFC would be in that role, even though I don't care about that fight at all. Have a good day, guys.
All right, we'll see you. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll keep discussing DC John Jones, Jimmy Manuel. What should go down? Give me some names. How do you want to build this card? Do you want to just go straight for Cormier versus Jones end of July, sometime in August, maybe September, or do you want to jump on, Cormier, who didn't take much damage at UFC 210? I think he would be ready to go. That's another payday. Jimmy Manuel sounds like he's ready to go. Let's do it, and then let's get Jones back on that same card as some insurance, I should say, and then also to build up that Cormier-Jones fight if things work out where the favorites win their fights. All right, folks, you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Quick to holler at a hoochie with the same line. You was just a little smaller, but you still roll.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
So we're talking John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Jimmy Manuwa, trying to figure out what makes the most sense. I made my decision. I want to see Cormier and Manuwa, and I want to see Jones in the co-main versus the winner of Gustafsson and Teixeira. I'm hoping it's Gustafsson. There's no offense to Teixeira, but that wasn't a classic. The Gustafsson was. Gustafsson-Jones Part 2 was supposed to be done a few times, so I would like them to revisit that. And I think if that fight is dog shit, or let's just say Teixeira wins, but it's not the sexiest one, then maybe let's look at Serknikov or Ozdemir coming out of that fight. Especially if it's Serknikov, that might be his time. Maybe him versus Jones on the undercard of Cormier Manuwa. It offers protection to in case Manuwa can't make it. And then, of course, if the champ can't make it, then depending on now we're getting,
I like
we're way ahead, getting way ahead of myself. But more than anything, I'm thinking if Manuwa were to fall off. If DC falls off, there's so many ways the card can go. I'm not going to get into that.
I like where you're going, but I'm going to add a goes stipulation. And that stipulation says, after the co-main event, provided John Jones wins, go back, do your medicals. You ain't taking no shower, dog. Come back out. You're sitting front row. And if DC wins, bring those two in the cage, and that's where promotion starts.
Big time.
That moment. Put them face to face, give them both a mic, and let them sell that fight.
Yeah. It was pointed out that DC's getting up there in age, and he is. And I started thinking, and we talked about this the other day, if DC were to beat Manuwa and then get to Jones, or just get to Jones, whatever. And my point is, if he gets to Jones and wins and finishes him, could he drop the mic and retire? Now, it would only be 1-1, but he could say, I finished you, you didn't finish me. You pointed that out the other day. Plus, to leave on a win, the other guy would be going, it's tied, let's go. You would almost feel like you won the trilogy having only fought 2 fights.
I think Daniel would be happy with that, just knowing he's pissing John off.
Right. And just go. Now, granted, the third fight would be massive, and there'd be a lot of money. I get that. So I guess it would be up to Cormier what he feels. But there is something to leaving on a high like that. And I guess people would be calling him a pussy and this, that, whatever.
I
But
don't think he cares.
Probably not. But
here's the thing. You and we say he's getting up there in age. And that age is inflated, because think about what wrestling's done to his body.
Right.
Okay? However, is he showing you that he's slowing down?
Not his MMA
you look
age.
at him and go, wow, he's a lot slower now, or anything like that.
No, not his MMA age. His
shots.
combat sports age, when I combine it with wrestling, I just say that's a lot of wear and tear. But it seems like he's got a body that's built for wear and tear as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's up to him. He's got that decision, and I guarantee you he knows it in his head. How many fights he's got? I would say it's 3.
The Part 3 would be a big payday, but at the same time, he's got Fox, and there probably is money to leaving on top and also just sticking a knife into your most hated foe,
Mm-hmm.
Because then basically he relinquishes the title and then everyone fights, but he can always have that last laugh. He can always have television to carry him and to defend him. You know what I mean? Just say, I want to spend time with my family. I already beat you. I already finished you. Yeah, you're right. Again, way ahead of ourselves. But let's get back to the phone calls. 866-522-2846. Let's go to the international line. It's Dalzino in Australia. What's up, Dalzino?
Hey, GG guys. What's happening?
Not much in you.
Happy birthday, Dalzino. I know it was a couple days ago, but.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And to Dante as well. We got the same birthday.
Yeah, forget that, fool.
Yeah, happy birthday to him too. How you guys been, man? It's been a while since I've called in, so I thought I'd call in and let you hear my voice.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I had been wondering where this guy's been.
No, really.
Look, I really do. I really do. I really wish you would come back to a junkie gathering, but I know you said you couldn't this year. But there's a lot of alumni that I wish could make their return. You're one of them.
Appreciate that. Man. Just to touch on the Jones and Cormier, I've got a lot of love for Cormier. I do, but I don't think he's going to beat Jones. to be honest with you. I don't know. You know, when he was going off at him after the fight, I really believe he lit a fire under Jones's ass, and I honestly believe we haven't seen the best of Jones yet. He's especially when he comes back with a clear head.
Well,
you agree?
Yes, I do. It all depends on Jones's rehab. How's he rehabbed himself? Because he tested positive for cocaine 30 days before they fought, right? Am I correct here? So at that time, those guys were at an all-time. They hadn't fought yet. Jones hadn't kicked his ass yet, so he didn't know if he could beat DC. DC didn't know if he could beat Jones. They hadn't fought yet. So you think at that point, that's when things were really, really getting amped up. Let's not forget what happened at the MGM. So there should have been a drive there to be as focused as possible, and yet he was still able to go off and party and make silly mistakes. Who knows if even that was the best John Jones. It was good enough John Jones to beat DC, but I'm still not so sure that his credit score, his FICO score is just low. You know what I mean?
Who's the best John Jones? Well, pick a fight. I think it's a Shogun fight. I think that's the best we've ever seen.
Yeah?
He destroyed a great fighter.
Yeah.
Okay? Granted, we know Shogun's
I agree.
Downtailing a little bit on his career. Still a good fighter. And he destroyed him. That's the best John Jones. I think he can be better than that guy.
John Jones.
Yeah.
Right. But, again, in picturing all this, I'm just picturing, is this guy making his monthly payments? Has he not got any judgments against them? Anything that brings that FICO score. Why is the FICO score down so low? It's just the dude that doesn't seem to be able to get to that John Jones that we're imagining. If he could get, he seems to be one of the all-time greats. But I don't know, man. Yeah, like those mistakes that he makes, and that's why I'm pushing more for Manuel Cormier, because I just don't know where this guy's at. I mean, I remember I was in L.A., and I drove. Remember, Goes, you and I made a bet that I couldn't get to a press conference. I think it was one of those hashtags. Remember, I left
yeah, that was you against Junkie Nation.
Was it me against Junkie Nation?
Yeah.
I got there, right? I drove down there, and then we were in this tent in L.A., and I sat there, and John Jones was saying, "Man, I've been dumb, Everyone cheered, "Yeah, I make some mistakes and this and that," and he won the crowd over. And people, I think, were co-signing. We made them too. We made mistakes. We all have. In fact, I have. I mean, we've all made mistakes. But I've sat through a few of those now where he says it, and he says the same thing, and then he lets us down. So that's where I'm at. I don't have any dislike towards him personally. I really don't know him. He used to come on the show in the studio, and he used to show us the watches that he had when he was into it, kind of when he was just a younger dude. But now he's just completely different. And when his lips are moving, half the time I feel like he's lying.
I don't even fault him so much for changing, because I would be an asshole. If I was in his position, trust me, I would change a little bit. But you have your foundation that should never change. And I think his foundation changed a little bit.
Dalzini?
Yeah, no, it's true. I agree with that.
All right, bud. You going to make it to next year's Junkie Gathering?
Oh, I don't. Oh, mate, I'm going to do my best, definitely. Definitely do my best, man. I've got to get back to work, but we'll talk soon. I will call in more often.
All right, see you, buddy. Take care.
All right, mate. See ya.
That, my friends, is a firm no from Dalzinho. I don't think he'll be here at next year's Junkie Gathering.
He's got too much to deal with, man. Saltwater Crocs.
He must have showed up one time and said, "This is all right," but I don't know.
Everything's trying to kill you in Australia.
Yeah. Who said? What did Marco say about volcanoes?
Oh yeah.
I just didn't want to get into it, but yeah, we kind of know that. But that's like the ocean. Don't go surfing. There's sharks. Well, yeah. Don't go to hot springs because there's volcano. I mean, there's kind of risk to a lot of these natural wonders everywhere.
It's probably something I wouldn't have thought about. I think you just go in and you do your thing.
Well, I went to some
but
Peru.
I would probably only do it once.
Really?
Yeah, because
at that time a volcano might erupt.
Being cooked alive would suck.
Yeah, but I think there's warnings. I don't think it just starts and then the lava starts pouring out.
Yeah.
But I went to the ones in Arequipa. What's the name of that place? Colca. They have some there. It was pretty cool, man. It was the most clearest sky I've ever seen in my life. And I remember chilling, and we were just hanging out and having some drinks. And the Warm Springs. It was really, really cool. And if Sam's co-signing on Iceland, I'm there. I'm sure not worrying about a volcano. And now if this volcano happens to go off once a month, then I guess maybe I'll think it twice, But volcanoes don't seem to go off that often, And if they do, I don't think it's the dangerous versions. I think they just may rumble, but nothing more than that. Let's go to Mike in Tennessee. What's up, Mike?
Yo.
What's up, man?
Yeah, Mike Conquest, Tennessee, getting excited about the card coming in here next Saturday. I heard Sam Alvey's on there, so make sure you tell him that I'm rooting for him to break his records and do his thing on this coming Saturday.
You going?
Oh, yeah. Shoot, yeah, man. I saved up. I don't come to Nashville often, and I've been a fan since UFC 1. I've never been able to make a live event, not even a local amateur event, so I'm really stoked. I spent a lot of money to get them 11th row floor seats with the whole VIP treatment and all that stuff, so I'm really looking forward to an awesome bucket list kind of experience.
Very cool. Make sure you call in after the event. We want to know how it went for you, and I'm always curious what they do with the VIP experience.
Yeah, I'm probably hoping for more than what it is. I've never called into any kind of show before ever, by the way, but I always listen to you guys, and I thought, why not? They seem like, normal dudes, so I thought I'd call in. So if I seem a bit nervous, I apologize. But, yeah, I'll do that. I'll call in after the show and, and tell you how it goes down. Hopefully I'll get to see Mr. Alvey. I know he's trying to break these records, so I'm hoping he does that. He's a good guy. I like to watch him fight. It's a pretty solid card. I'm wondering, since Connor's guy is there, if I'll see him running about in Nashville, or if we might not be the kind of place he'd want to hang out, but you never know. He might be out there supporting his boy in the main event.
A few years ago, they were pretty tight. That was his number one training partner, but I haven't seen him as much like I used to. So if I had to bet, I don't think he'll be there.
I think.
But you think so?
Yeah.
Think he'll take a private jet to Nashville?
I think Nashville's become kind of a cool spot to go to.
Well, but he's got the kid coming up. The kid's due in May, and we're a month away. I suppose it's
that's his dog, though.
It is, but do you remember the last fight he had? What was it? Nate Diaz Part 2? Yeah.
Connor?
Here in Vegas, when we talked to Lobov and Lobov came here, he wasn't even in the same house, and that they call that the McMansion. It probably had like 8 rooms. He was at another adjacent house. So, again, I wasn't sure. Shouldn't you be in the room next door if you're his homie or pretty damn close? So I think the team's kind of expanded. He's got the jiu-jitsu guy. There's touch butt guy. There's the coach. So I just don't know. I don't know. I think he'll probably wish him well from Ireland, but I don't think he'll be there. But I hope he does go. Seems like anytime Conor enters any sort of arena, there's a great buzz.
Oh yeah, it would be nice, and I think you're right about that. Of course, the UFC is still gonna promote him as Conor's number one sparring partner, just so they can get the buzz for him coming in and fighting. They still show that on the promos. Conor's number one sparring partner and all that. But either way, it's going to be a pretty solid card, especially for me being my first time. But if I could, I was just going to weigh in on everything you guys. You guys have said everything I was thinking on the whole DC Jones thing. The thing with Jones for me, man, is he caused one whole card to be canceled because he didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen, which he had to be pretty sure he could beat Sonnen at the time. He's caused a lot of problems, and I've seen Dana literally get to the point where I think he was kind of almost done literally with Jones. So him coming in straight away and getting a title shot, I think it's a little bit too much of a reward, I guess, just for being as good as he is. So I would like to see him earn it, and I have no interest in seeing him and Teixeira just because he beat him pretty handily last time, and Teixeira's last few fights has shown that his skills are still good, but I think maybe his chin's gone a little bit or going. And, DC and Manoa, they're already in their little war thing going on with Twitter or whatever. So, I would love, just like one of you guys had said, Jones and Gus and DC and Manoa, and then let them mouth it off from there and build the hype. But another thing about DC is I'm thinking, as he gets older, you guys keep pointing out that he's getting older. And it's not like he's shooting for double legs or anything like he would have done as a younger wrestler. He's in the clinch. He's a really strong wrestler. But I just wonder, with him getting older and his buddy not being so much in the title picture anymore at heavyweight, what would keep him from just going back up to that natural weight and maybe, trying to run for the heavyweight title and maybe get, them two belts? That would be cool,
It would be.
In the older age.
That's the theme, too, as of late. Thank you very much for the call, Mike. I believe that he could – it all depends on Jones. Jones is the number one target. But if Jones just falls asleep at the wheel and, if he doesn't make himself available for Cormier to fight, I believe Cormier would defend against someone like Manuwa and then say, I'm not sticking around for Serknikov and whoever else. Give me a couple heavyweights. Let me try to accomplish a special feat here and then bounce. Because I think I feel like he's only got 2 or 3 fights left, really.
I think 3.
He told us Rumble, Jones 2, and Jones 3. So that was 3 at the time. Well, Rumble just happened. And, again, if Jones is not a part of his future, then Manuwa then becomes the Jones 2. And then there'd be Jones 3 left. And I don't know. I think the UFC would go, based on him being an undefeated heavyweight fighter, the Strikeforce heavyweight tournament champion, a current light heavyweight champion, and one of our biggest stars, he may get himself an automatic berth to fight for a heavyweight title.
And if that happens and Stipe Miocic is still champ, here's the gun, and it's at your head.
I'll go with Cormier.
Scary, right? That you would even say that?
Well, Stipe Miocic is a badass dude.
Yeah.
However, Stipe's fighting a guy who he's lost to previously, and Junior seemed to revitalize himself when he beat Ben Rothwell. So that one's going to be a tough one for Stipe. All right, folks, we got to take this commercial. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. When we come back, we'll find out what Goze's answer is to that same question. If Miocic and Cormier ever mixed it up, gun to the head, who would he take? We'll be right back.
It's from Willie and the Slam.
.45.
Kane was so bad.
They are the Wright brothers of mixed martial arts. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, just before the sports update, I want to get this caller in, so let's jump right back into it. Brandon from Louisville, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, boys. Hey, boys. How y'all doing today?
Good, man.
Hi. Had a good time in Kansas City. It was a great night of fights. Cursed didn't happen. No one got pulled off or injured, so that was good.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm back and clean and clear. It's free and clear. It's all good. Quick little story for you. So walking around afternoon of the fight, and I'm around the arena area, and Wilson and his camp just went to Starbucks and walking around and everything, shaking hands, all that. So, I give him a handshake. Now to think about it, it was the same arm that he got submitted with, so maybe I am bad luck. So one of the, the random people hanging outside an arena, buying tickets, selling tickets, whatever, he shakes his hand and everything, then looks at me and goes, "Who is that guy?" So, I tell him that that's, Wilson Hayes. He's fighting for the title tonight and everything. I was like, oh, cool. About 2 seconds later, one of Wilson's teammates, trainers, whatever, comes over and looks at the guy and goes, "Hey, Wilson really likes your hat. He wants to know if he can have it, the Kansas City Royals hat." Guy looks like, "No, man, he can't have my hat. What's up with that?" The guy's like, "Oh, no, he just liked it." So the guy's like, no, that's like a $50 hat. I can't be doing that. Guy walks away and everything, looks at me like, "Is that like a Brazilian thing? Just ask for my hat?" So I ask you guys, is that like a Brazilian thing? Why do you just ask for the dude's hat?
He probably didn't think it cost $50. Thanks for the call, Brandon. That was a great story. He probably didn't think it cost $50.
A South American thing?
Yeah, in soccer they exchange jerseys. The other day, Bibiano Fernandez liked my shirt, and so we switched shirts. And
the worst one of all time is the kid from Rambo 3. He asked Rambo for everything.
Tell me about it when we come back. We got to go to a sports update and a commercial. When we come back, it'll be Sam Alvey. Stay close.
Is bleeding gums?
I think so. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show underway. I apologize to Sam, our producer. I gave him a number that was so far off. It wasn't even like, make that 6 or 7. I don't know how I transposed. I got it all mixed up. Did you get it, Sam, the second one?
Yep, I got it. And that's
All right.
twice today you have had trouble with numbers.
I know. You've been waiting for that number. You guys remember the movie Phone Booth when Forrest Whitaker tells that guy, he's the captain, he's handling the hostage situation. He asked one of the guys for a number, and he goes, I've been waiting for that number. And he literally put in the request half a second before that.
Mm-hmm.
I always trip out. I like that movie. That's one of the movies that if it's on, I just finish it out. Granted, I'm not just sitting there glued. I'll be doing other stuff, working on rankings or the show or whatever, but I'll keep it on. That and that damn Shawshank Redemption. There's just no way out of that one.
There's a lot of people in there with that.
Shawshank Redemption's just, you just can't change it. Pulp Fiction, you can't change it.
Casino.
Yeah, a few of those, you just can't do it.
Carlito's Way.
There's got to be a
Tale.
certain movie for someone. That'll be a good theme for tomorrow. What's a movie where if you walk in, you can't change it? And hopefully people stick to the good ones. I always hate it when someone goes, did you see Sally Field in 1947? Like, some movie, The Wallflower or something like that. Where you're like, okay, yeah, you did, and maybe my mom caught it, but like the rest of the world didn't. I like it when we're all in agreement and we're all like toasting. Yeah, Pulp Fiction, yeah. Oh, Goodfellas, oh, I got you,
It has to be something that you feel pride in on Twitter. If you had to say, guys, I'm sorry I was late. I was watching blank, and everybody would go, oh, okay, we've all been there.
Right.
It can't just be some random stupid movie, even though it means a lot to you for whatever reason.
What happened, Sam? Yeah, I gave him the right number. All right, we're good to go. I think he's coming through here.
Karate Kid's like that too.
Gally from Toronto says, on yesterday's show you mentioned UFC should make DJ's 11th title defense. He writes, I agree. With that, would Joe be SOL because it would be harder to sell 0-2 against DJ as a challenger? I wouldn't focus on the 0-2. I'd focus on the 6-fight win streak, and if he wins his next one, it would be a 7-fight win streak. It would come up that he's 0-2, but because I guess he would title it Part 3. But I would put strong promotion on, Benavidez being the number 2 guy and the streak that he's on, if he can get past win, this, that, whatever. It would have been pretty cool to have, thank you, it would have been pretty cool to have Garbrandt drop if he, like he says he could, if he would do it. Anytime champs can do that, that's awesome. But he still has Dominic Part 2, and then he still has Dillashaw ahead of him. Plus all the other bantamweights. That bantamweight division is pretty stacked. It's very impressive. And that's with Fernandez being at 1 championship, Marias now in the UFC, but formerly with WSOF, and Dantas at Bellator. I also think Caldwell's a beast. All right, you got to get our first guest on. His name's Sam Alvey. He's going to be fighting this Saturday at UFC Fight Night 108. Swanson versus Lobov at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Let me tell you how this breaks down. Prelims start on the UFC Fight Pass at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then you got to switch it up. Head on over to FS2 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where in their main event of the prelims, it'll be Sam Alvey versus Talis Leites, 2 quality middleweights. And, of course, the main card winds up on FS1. I'll keep repeating this throughout the week so that you all wind up on the proper channels for each fight. It is a great card. Can't wait to see it. Joining us now is Sam Alvey. What's up, Smiling Sam? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us again. It's been a fun ride here. We've been catching up before every fight. And I'll tell you what, man, it just gets me even more invested every time because you're such a nice guy. And I think for a while everybody felt that's the guy that smiles and what's he going to do? But I love how every fight you prove somebody wrong because you just keep being better and better and better. And put the smile aside, man, you're a tough SOB.
Yeah, I'm great for betting odds, too. I'm rarely the overdog.
When are we going to reach the point where people stop treating you like, I guess, a guy that a member of the middleweight division, and instead as someone who has some skills and should be. Like, this is a quality matchup. This is a big name for you. And I thought you should have arrived here even sooner than that.
You know what? I'm happy to fight anyone. I think a big part is I haven't been pushing to fight those top 10 guys. I'll get there. I just want to fight a lot. I know if I fight the top 10 guys, the UFC won't have me fighting all that much. So I'll fight whoever they give me whenever they give them to me. I'll fight the number 2 guy or I'll fight the number 200 guy. I'm fine as long as I get to put on a show in front of everyone.
When people say, okay, but he doesn't want to hit the ground with Leites, what do you say? Tell me a little bit about your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, your overall grappling game. How formidable is it? Who are your coaches?
Well, let's see. My coach is Ricardo Feliciano. He's my jiu-jitsu coach, and he's phenomenal. But for people that say I don't want to go to the ground, I mean, I submitted Eric Spicely a black belt. I went to the ground with Nate Marquardt, and that ended up all right for me, too. So I've got submissions. I've got knockouts. I mean, I've got a lot more knockouts, obviously, because that's what people like seeing. So if I get the choice between submitting him or knocking him out, I'll pick the knockout every time.
Yeah, most definitely. 18 KOs of your 30 wins. 18 of them have been KOs, so there's definitely more knockouts than submission. What do they feel like to you if you knock out just anybody versus submitting a top-notch grappler? Is it about the same, or is the knockout still the best?
The knockout's still way better. There's no comparison. I feel part of the guy's soul leave him as I hit him. And it's the coolest thing. The submissions, you're always, I hope they tap, and then they tap, and you get your hand raised. The knockout is instant. You know from the second your knuckles connect that it's over.
Another thing I wanted to ask, you guys have made this a family thing. The whole family travels, your wife in the corner. But as the family grows, is it still pretty cool for you to have that active schedule, or is your family wanted you to slow down in any way?
No, my family wants me fighting as much as we're currently buying a house, and if she's joking about wanting a vacation house too, so I got to fight more.
Vacation house? Where's that going to be?
Oh, hey, we're worrying about the first house first, but I love fighting a lot. My wife loves traveling with me, and my kids, they're along for the ride. So it's just we like fighting. We've always fought a lot, and we hope to keep fighting a lot.
But there's got to be somewhere in the world, and let's just say you had a lot of money available to you, all right? Things take off, the career just blows up, and you had a lot of money. With all that you've traveled, has there been a certain spot where you go, man, this would be a cool spot to have a second house?
To have a second house, honestly, I love Nashville. I've been here once before, when I fought Brunson, and I just fell in love with the whole area. This time around, we're kind of seeing the place a little bit, and it might not be too far off in the future when we end up living here.
Really?
I love Nashville. It's such a cool scene and atmosphere, and it's country, which is fantastic. I'm so sick of California.
What?
California sucks.
Take it easy. We're from California, and our parents live real close to Marietta, so that one's stinging a little.
Yeah. I've lived here for 6 years. I'm probably going to live there in Marietta for another 6 years. It's fine, but everything's always brown. It never rains. It's only the same thing every day. It's boring.
What about sunshine? And it did rain pretty good these last few months. The drought's over, for crying out loud.
It rained pretty good compared to California, but I think in my last 3 days here in Nashville, it's rained more than the last 6 months in California.
I always thought the Inland Empire was a little bit country, and there's some country bars, and the Stagecoach comes once a year.
Again, if you compare it to California, then yeah. But if you compare it to anywhere else on the planet, no way. I keep joking because I love Marietta. I love Temecula. I love the cities. The house I'm looking to buy is in Lake Elsinore, and I love it. I love the community. I love everyone out there. But it's so hot all the time, and the traffic is terrible, and the taxes are outrageous. And here in Nashville, there's no income
state tax, right?
No income tax.
Yeah.
The gas out here is $2.19 a gallon. California just passed everything's going up an extra 15 cents for another tax.
You know, I got a buddy. I'm going to tell you about a secret location in Tennessee. He's probably not going to like it because he listens.
Okay.
But there's a place called Dale Hollow Lake. It's about 2 hours east of Nashville. Man, if you can get a house up there, it's very country, it's very quiet, and that lake is beautiful.
Who's your friend, Jason Voorhees?
Ooh, I might have to.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
We're
I've been there, man. I've been there a few
sticking
times.
out
It's
here.
really, really nice. I land in Nashville. I drive east a couple hours, and the lake is very clean. It's one of the cleanest lakes around, and his neighbor isn't that. I mean, they're close, but not that close, and it's pretty chill, man. And this is from a California guy who says, Jesus, if I had all kinds of money, maybe I'd have a vacation house out there. It is really, really nice.
Man, you stay in California, you're going to miss California. If you
Wait,
wanna get your
for me, it'd be a
Nashville
vacation
kick,
house.
Nashville kick, go to Knott's Berry Farm once a year or something. I'll probably take care of everything there.
Texas Lucy's in cahoots. Yeah.
And then, but you got to stay in California. Look
No,
how
but
close you are to the mountains, the beaches. Come on, man. Disneyland.
Yeah, you
know,
no?
Get me out of here. I will miss the people. I will not miss the state.
Sam Alvey, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's fighting Talis Latis at UFC Fight Night 108 on Saturday. You can catch his fight on Fox Sports 2. That portion of the prelims starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. Goes, what do you have for Sam Alvey?
Sam, I know you like fighting frequently, but you said it yourself. The higher you climb in the ranks, the less you'll probably take on fights. Are you willing to draw back on the fights if it does mean you will climb the ranks? Or will you actually take fights while you're climbing the ranks that maybe might not make sense?
I will take fights while I'm climbing the ranks because I'm never going to lose again, and you can put anyone you want in front of me. So if I'm climbing the ranks, I'd like I said, I'd happily fight number 2, number 3. Or, again, I'd fight number 200. Even if it makes no sense and they need a guy to step up, I'm going to step up and I'll get my hand raised again.
What are you doing that's different from everyone else? How are you able to keep up this pace on your body?
I don't know. It's what I've always done. I always look at my dad. My dad was a construction worker, still is, and what I do isn't half as bad for me as what he does. And he still gets up every day. He still goes to work every day, still runs the site every day, and he's done that for my whole life. I get to work out for a living. I'm not to say it's easy, but it's not as hard on my body as what so many other people do in their lives.
Sam, you've always had a name after your fight in the post-fight speech. They ask you who you want next. There's always a name. Do you already know who that name is? And if so, can you share it?
Well, one, I'm not going to share it. You got to tune in for my post-fight speech for that. But as to who I want to fight, I got to week and see what my coaches say and see what my wife says.
Whenever I see that you're going to be on the show, the one thing that I always think about is how good I think you would be in this scenario. Sitting right next to us doing a show like this, or something like the Fox desk. Has that ever come across your desk, an invitation to do something like that? And is that something you would ever try?
I would love to be on that Fox desk. I would love to get in there and talk with everyone and talk about fights and put my 2 cents in. And I've got enough fights under my belt. I'm getting close to 50 fights. That I think I've got some know-how when it comes to what people are doing. And so I would love to. If the door ever opens, I'm definitely going to sign up.
I'm going to try and open that door, George.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to.
I'm going to try and guess who he's calling out. You want to hear my guesses?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think either the winner of Christoph Jocko versus David Branch, although Sam likes to have the name handy, so that one might not work. If he can really put a stamp on Latis, then why not Anderson Silva? And I'll tell you why, because Gastelum did that coming off the Belfort win. You know what I mean? Smiling Sam's got the smile, he's got the platform, and just having beaten a Brazilian, I think that one might work too. Belfort is looking for a fight, and so if you want to, fight an all-time great legend, he's there. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Am I at least warm, Sam?
Would he tell him to meet him in Orange County?
I tell you what, I'll give you a clue at least. with my next fight, I step in the ring, I tie the record for most UFC fights in 1 year. I tie with Donald Cerrone. If I can fight one more time before June 18th, that gives me the record all to myself. And I want that record.
There you go. So now we got to – one of these cards I mentioned might happen to be before we had June 18th. So there you have it. All right, we'll leave that alone. Another thing I wanted to ask you was you don't seem to take any of this personal. It's you're having a good time. It's business because you do sign a contract. You do get paid. But what I wanted to ask you is a guy like Dan Kelly, who you beat in May of 2015, man, he's really doing great for himself. Do you wind up cheering for the guys that you fought for, or are there just some guys you don't click, or do you not worry about stuff like that? Because I would think that also raises your stock.
Yeah, I love it when guys I fought do well. A couple of the guys, Eric Spicely and Dan Kelly, I like talk to them often enough. Spicely more than Kelly because Kelly's in the other side of the world. But I love when the guys I fought and beat do well. I like it when the guys that beat me do well. So I'm rooting and betting on Dan Kelly every fight. I think he's fighting. He's got a tough one for me to bet on because he's fighting Derek Brunson next, I believe. So it's two guys I fought, and as of now, I'm pulling for Kelly.
There you have it. All right, Sam. Well, it is fight week. We'll keep it short, but it's always great to catch up with you before and after your fight. So thanks again for the time. We really, really appreciate it. And good luck at UFC 108 this Saturday night against Talis Leitis.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, guys.
All right, take care. See ya. How can you not smile after having Smiling Sam on?
Such a cool
He's
guy, right?
really cheerful. Yeah, it carries over to his interviews and such a positive guy. He'd probably be the all-time greatest next-door neighbor.
Yeah.
If you had him. You know what I mean? He could probably be leaving going, oh, fuck, got to go to work. And then he's leaving as well, and he just kind of gives you a wave and a smile, and you'd probably be like, that work ain't so bad. Let's go.
He forgot to take out the trash.
Yeah.
He put him out there with a little note and a cookie. That's Sam.
Yeah. Seems like a really, really cool guy. It's too bad he's not down with Cali, though.
Oh, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not very many people like that.
But he's planting roots. I mean, buying a house, they say don't buy a house unless you plan on being there at least 5 years. So he said the number 6. For some reason, I'm thinking the number 6. Let's jump on a couple calls, and then we'll take our first break here in the second hour, and then we'll talk to Jason Miller as well. So we'll go with Oreo in Alberta, Canada. What's up, Oreo?
Hey, guys. What's up?
What's up, man?
Wait, Jason Mayhem Miller?
Yeah.
He's not in jail? Or?
You think I'm talking about the politician that Donald Trump nominated for a few days, and then he wound up turning it down?
No, didn't he, Jason Mayhem Miller, wasn't he, the SWAT team was after him and all that stuff?
Well, that was a few years ago, but everything is clear now, and yeah, he's podcasting like us.
He's doing well?
Well, that's what we want to find out. We want to talk to him, catch up with him, see how he's doing.
Hey, quickly on Sam Alvey. That guy's a great dude, because I remember I watched him fight Elvis Mutapcic in MFC.
Right.
And he said what's up to me and my friends, so he's a really good dude. He was calling out Anderson Silva at that time, too. Well, not calling him out, but being like, I could beat anybody in the world. And that was when Anderson Silva was still champion. So I really hope that guy does well.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah. Hey, so I heard you guys yesterday talking about how Mighty Mouse was the best, greatest of all time. And I just don't see how you can discount John Jones. I mean, John Jones's record, he beat 4 former champions. He beat probably the top 5 light heavyweights right now. And he's essentially undefeated. Mighty Mouse it's his level of competition. He's great, but he beat, Kerry Hasso? He's out of the UFC. He beat Moraga. He's 0-3 in his last 3 fights. The level of opponents it's not comparable. So I just don't see how you could say that Mighty Mouse is the greatest of all time when John Jones is undefeated.
I don't think I said he's the greatest of all time. I just said he's one of the 4 greatest of all time. I don't know that I've really chosen anyone. I think GSP's the guy that kind of stood out to me as the greatest of all time. Because, the same way you're poking holes, I can poke holes as well and say, all right, because I think Shogun looked better in Pride to me than he did when he, fought here in the UFC. I mean, he did capture a world title, but
he still knocked out Chocolate. He still knocked out Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
He's still not you're forgetting his win.
Rashad's a middleweight. Lyoto's a middleweight. Chael was a middleweight. Vitor was a middleweight. So he beat a bunch of middleweights. And the reason he beat a lot of former champs is because in that division everybody kind of kept beating each other. Therefore, that's why there was many champions. The reason Mighty Mouse can't say that is because he's been the only champion, and he's also beaten some tough guys as well. I mean, we still got to see how the Cejudo career pans out, but so far it's been pretty good. Joseph Benavidez is a really, really tough fighter, and he's beaten him 2 times as well. Again, these are all great fighters, Oreo, and I didn't say he's better than John Jones. I just said I think he's one of the 4 greatest ever.
You have to nitpick, and every superhero has their kryptonite, but Demetrius Johnson just doesn't seem to have one. John Jones is himself. That's his kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Okay, bud. All right. We'll see you.
Okay.
I think we have time for one more. Dan in Oregon. What's up, Dan?
What's up, gentlemen? Yo, I wanted to recap the Elliott versus Smolka fight. I think that, running into that fight, I thought for sure that was just going to be a scramble fest. Watching Smolka versus Patty Houlihan and then what Elliott and Johnson did recently, and it panned out pretty much exactly like I thought. I thought that was the most exciting fight on the whole card, and that was almost the grappling equivalent of Doo-Hoo Choi versus Cub Swanson. Would you guys agree?
It was a fun fight.
Pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah, man, and I look at Smolka, and he's 0-3 in his last fight, but that's a dude that you can't let go. You can't let him go over to some other organization or something like that because he just puts on bangers of fights, and I will never miss a Smolka fight just because of that reason alone. And then, not many people are talking about it, but Eduardo Dantas over there at Bellator, man, he had a hell of a showing in his main event fight. And I think he's getting super overlooked on this whole bantamweight talk about, who's the best out there. I know Marlon Moraes just signed with the UFC, and he's going to be out on that Brazilian card, but this is probably the best bantamweight that's outside of the UFC, and he's just not getting any love from any of the people out there, man.
Well, the last performance was okay, but I've been a big Dantas fan. I've been a big fan of Novo União. When he's on, he's on. He's pretty tough. But the one question will always linger, and that's, is he one of the best? Now, Moraes will answer that one soon because he's entered the UFC. And Dantas is just not keeping busy with great opposition out there. I think he's kind of maximized the Warren and the Galvals and that run. And if he can get past Caldwell, I think that would be a big statement. But we won't really know if he's one of the best unless he were to move over to the UFC. Or if the UFC were to lose a bunch of their bantamweights and they go over there and he continuously gets tested. But that'll be the one lingering question mark for him.
Yeah, man, but you look at the dude's record. He beat Wilson Hayes, who just fought for a title. That's on Edward Dantas' record. Yeah. And he's like 6-1 in Bellator or something. He's got an excellent record. And right now, I've never seen a time in MMA where you can look up and down the list of the divisions, who's top 10, look at the UFC champions and tell yourself that, every UFC champion is the best fighter in all of those divisions, from Garbrandt, who's only beat one guy, even though he demolished Cruz, kind of, and just going up and up and up. Is Conor McGregor the best lightweight in all of MMA because he's 1-0?
Well, we don't know because if they individually fought champions from other organizations, anything can happen. I firmly believe that. But that doesn't happen, and so all I can go on is who consistently beats the tougher competition, and the tougher competition is in the UFC. So therefore, I think we're all obliged to, think that way, that's where the tougher fighters are. But we know for a fact. I mean, Will Brooks was like 18-1 when he came over as champ from Bellator, and now he's 1-2 in the UFC.
Alvarez came over and won a title.
Yeah. So there's positives and negatives from anything that's ever happened, any type of champion moving over.
Benson Henderson went the other way. He had trouble, so yeah, it's give or take.
Yeah, but like I said, just there's more consistent, tougher opposition in the UFC, and therefore that's just what everyone's going to think. That's what the majority are going to think. Anybody that ever votes or has an opinion, that's just the way it's going to go. Dan, we got to move on. Thanks for calling in. We got to take this break because when we come back, we'll be talking to Jason Mayhem Miller. So stay close to that dial. We ain't going anywhere. The show's not anywhere close to being over, and we'll finish up with some calls as well. 866-522-2846.
Showing up. Yeah, don't get mad at me. I don't love him, I'll fuck him out.
So, I typed a text to a girl I used to see, saying that I chose this cutie pie with whom I want to be. And I apologize if this message gets you down. Then I CC'd every girl that I'd CC round town. And
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
All right, we'll be joined by Jason Mayhem Miller in just a couple minutes. Right now I'm going to squeeze in one quick call. My VX froze, Sam, so if you could punch in Showtime from Tennessee, that'd be great. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Not much, and you?
Nothing much. Hey, yesterday I was listening when you guys were talking about the Jeremy Stevens fight. I actually had Stevens in that fight, and I actually thought he lost. I mean, even though the guy ran, Stevens really just fought a out-of-control fight. He didn't really stick with his game plan of leg kicks, and then coming over with that right hand, he was just swinging all wild and missing. And, the crowd was kind of booing because the guy was piecing him up and getting on his roller skates and moving around, so I think he lost. I mean, honestly, I would have benefited with Stevens winning, but me calling the fight like I saw it, I thought he lost.
Moicano just didn't want to have his back against the cage, so he was using his footwork to get out and reset in the middle. He used his length well. He used his footwork very well. He started to slow down. He didn't have, a little bit of that bounce that he had early on, but Stevens was doing a lot of chasing. And here's another thing. When he was missing, he was so wild that I wonder if, somehow that resonates with the judges, like who's, the effective striking. Because as much as you go, oh, that's a nice body shot. Do you see the way he dug the liver? Well, when you miss, I wonder if the judge is also thinking, God, that was awful, as he's trying to equate and move that pendulum of, who's looking better, who isn't. I thought Stevens at times just looked sloppy. Now, that said, I thought they may give him the nod. So it going to a split. It was a split, right? Yeah, I think it was. Didn't surprise me. But I thought of the two, Moicano looked like the more polished or the more effective fighter over 15 minutes, if that makes sense. If you use kind of like the pride scenario, just thinking through the whole fight, which is kind of what I was doing. I wasn't really judging rounds. I thought of the two, he got the better of the other one. But I still felt like Stevens in the last two rounds had made some adjustments, and he may get the call because he was a little bit more of the aggressor, and now some more of the strikes were starting to land. But in the first round, it looked like, oh, my God, he looked bad, awful.
I think it was one of those where you could just tell which direction the judges are going to pick it. I felt like Stevens did enough to win, but I felt like the judges would give it the other way.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I hit a little small parlay with, how you pronounce it, Tom Duquois? How you pronounce that last name?
I've been calling him DKNY.
Yeah, I've been calling him Tom D. I'm not even trying to pronounce it.
Yeah, him, Rashid Makhmadov, and Tim Elliott. I hit a, small parlay on that, but that, the champ man was great as usual, man. I want to see him defend that title one more time and basically break the record, and then if he want to go up or, get some kind of money fight. But at the end of the day, it's about money. And I want to see the guy get paid. We rather see two fat guys, see a guy like Roy, as much as I love Roy, get in there and look like crap. We'd rather see that fight than see the most skilled fighter as far as if you want to put striking, a BJJ, wrestling. I mean, Mighty Mouse is the best at putting all of it together, This is the only sport where you can take a guy that may not be, what is he? I mean, as far as BJJ, what's his belt level?
He says he's a white belt because he doesn't wear the gi often, but he obviously has black belt level skills if he's submitting a guy that's never been submitted before who is a black belt. Thank you, Showtime, for the call. I mean, I agree. He's legit. He's very well-rounded. But, like, boxing was super popular with the heavyweights in the 70s and the early 80s. And then we saw middleweights and welterweights get a lot of love in the 80s with the Four Kings of Duran and Hearns in them, Sugar Ray Leonard. And then, of course, who's been the most popular fighters in the last few years? Julio Cesar Chavez, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Mayweather. Yeah, Pacquiao. And those guys were anywhere between, 130 on up to 147. So the tide may change one day. It's just going to take some time. I think everybody's too antsy to make it happen too soon. I know there's a learning curve, but it's still a young sport. All right. We are now joined by Jason Mayhem Miller, who is now dropping a podcast every week called the Mayhem Podcast. Check it out on iTunes. He even tweeted that if you give it a good review, whoever gives it the funniest review will get a T-shirt. Check it out on iTunes, dropping every week. The host of Mayhem Podcast, Jason Miller. What's up, Jason? How you doing?
Yo, that contest is still ongoing. I haven't seen a funny review yet. I mean, I've seen some cute ones. I've seen some heartwarming ones. I've seen some attempts at humor. But I need the funniest review on iTunes. I need this. But even if you don't listen, just say, Mayhem's a fucking kook, and he ought to shit himself yesterday. I don't care. No, do not cuss. You will get banned.
All right, there you have it, folks.
I know this from experience. They told me, iTunes came back at me like, yo, Mayhem, what's wrong with you?
So how you been, Jason? How's your world? Aside from the podcasting, what else you got going on?
Fantastic. As you heard, I've been absolved. The cops only harass me minorly now. Otherwise, man, life is perfect. I'm got the new Miller Industries company up and running. Hey, who was the last guy that was just on Showtime? Who's that?
He's one of our callers from Tennessee. He goes by the nickname of Showtime.
He's a truck driver.
Gotta give that motherfucker my number. I like his analysis, and I'd love to have him on Mayhem Podcast.
Cool. There you have it. We'll make it happen. All right.
Yeah, because I just like the way he broke it down. He had a smooth way about that. Anyway, what the hell are you guys doing over at MMA Junkie besides writing articles that badmouth Mayhem?
Well,
we just
don't write
host
articles.
We just host the show.
You guys, man, I have a strong case of libel against you guys. One of your writers went off the rails, and he wrote that I did drugs and yada yada yada, complete falsehood that I would like to rectify right now on your show.
Well, yeah. I mean, what did he write?
I don't remember. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. No one remembers him.
All right. Hey, I was told by people that are close to you that you wanted to enter, what seems to be very popular and something you were very good at is, your submission grappling game was always tight. And apparently you want to get into that world. Is it going to be like as a promoter or you want to compete?
Well, here's the thing. I'm having a unbooked card because people keep dropping out because they see the talent that I'm bringing. So people keep dropping out. So my main event is still up in the air. But I'm looking for midsummer to have a show in Orange County. I'll see you there.
Well, we're fellow OCers like yourself. So where would you be having it?
What the fuck? You're an OC and you never swang by my house?
Well, we grew up there.
We grew up there, but we moved to Vegas a few years ago to, we had to crank this show out in the fight capital of the world. But we're from Santa Ana, the mean streets of Santa Ana.
Good. We didn't want you here anyway.
Nah, man. I still can't even change my area code on my phone.
Yeah,
it's Orange County all
I
the way.
still got
Santa Ana, bro. You're from Santa Ana, home.
That's right.
Yeah, man. That's good, man.
Still got the 714 area code.
Simone.
That's the OG area code of Orange County.
That's real. That's real, man. I appreciate that. When I see a 714 pop up, I answer it because it's either the cops or somebody cool.
Hey, Mayhem, I've been listening to your podcast, and I know you represent the OC, but who's number 2? Because I don't think you'd ever leave the OC, but if you did, where would you go?
What do you mean number 2, man? Number 2, the world is my home. A suitcase, a hotel room, and a foreign locale is my second home. So, Orange County's got a good thing because you can get to the airport in 15 minutes most of the time. Well, not every time. Like Minneapolis found out one time. I'd like to apologize to Minneapolis for flaking on you guys one time. But they have this thing about ticking luggage. So I guess my luggage was ticking. They wouldn't let me on the plane.
This time was an alarm or something.
I want to go back to the grappling thing.
Often it's electric shaver. Usually it's an electric shaver, but every once in a while, it's a dildo.
Oh shit! Where would the
event of a dildo? Oh, sorry, man. You got a delay, bro. I keep talking right on you. Fuck. What are we doing? Satellite phone? There's no fucking phone lines in Vegas.
For sure, we don't want dildo talk. Let's talk about the grappling tournament.
Yeah.
Where would that take place?
Yeah. Where?
Yeah.
That's the thing, buddy. not announcing it yet. That's how you get shut down at these type of events.
Really?
So just keep a fucking eye out on my Facebook. It's not like you're never going to hear from me again, right? As soon as I get off this phone, I'm probably going to start tweeting again. I need to tweet Donald Trump more often.
Well, the only reason we want to know is because we want it to succeed. So if you had a locale and a date and ticket price, then we can promote it for you.
Will you book me again to fucking talk about this soon? Because my representative is spilling all the beans before I even got the beans in the can. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Why are people dropping out of the tournament?
Well, I booked a big-ass name, and this kid's a fucking beast grappler. Nobody wants to fucking wrestle him.
I see. All right.
So, yeah, he's a fucking black belt at Eddie Bravo Jiu-Jitsu, and people are afraid to get their fucking arms torn off or their fucking neck ripped off.
Is it like one-on-one super fights, or will you, or will it be some sort of a
We're
tournament?
having super fights. We're having exhibitions. We're having art. We're bringing the art back to mixed martial arts. So be there or be square.
And you're saying it's in the summer. Can we narrow it down to a month?
Man, what are you, the FBI, CIA, NSFW?
I'm the Border Patrol.
God bless you. God bless you, sir, for protecting our borders.
I got to plan
from
out my
these
schedule
border-hopping immigrants.
so I can get down from Vegas to the OC to support and to watch this event.
What, man? You know how quick that drive is? You know how fast? I made that drive in 1.5 hours, bro.
That is very good time. That beats Boss Ruden's
That's right,
record.
man,
Boss Ruden's record's like 3
because
hours.
the navigation told me it was 4 hours, and I said time challenge accepted. and then I just listened to the Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack the whole way back from Vegas.
Jason Mayhem Miller, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. All right, Goes, what do you have for Mayhem?
Mayhem, what would the rule set be there for the tournament?
Well, it's dependent. We're going to have 3 different rule sets in that evening. There's going to be exhibitions of stand-up martial arts as well as grappling. So there'll be different rules, and I'll explain them when the time's right. And that's on Fight Night.
How you liking the podcast world, man?
Listen here, man. I don't even know. I think it's just my world, and all these other podcasters are living in it. I just think it's hilarious. When I hear their witty banter, I realize there's a place out there for mayhem to be in your ear hole for at least an hour.
Is the goal to keep it weekly, or do you want to ever get to like daily or, more?
Well, see, here's the thing, is that although it's 1 hour, try to condense all that into a rapid-fire thing that shouts out your ear for, maybe a second listening.
I'll tell you what. I was scrolling through your Twitter handle, and we were gone for a few days last week, and we failed to recognize, but you did it. Charlie Murphy, man, that does suck that he passed away about a week ago.
Oh, I know. One of the damn best iconic storytellers of our generation, and the son of a bitch is gone. Well, and I never even got to teach him a karate lesson.
Yeah. Did you ever meet him?
Hell no. That's the problem. I was trying. I even reached out to him, tweeted the man and everything, because somebody said something about Charlie Murphy self-defense or some shit. I don't know. I was like, yo, I'll teach you some Rick James self-defense. And other people LOL'd, but I didn't get the sacred like. But Charlie Murphy probably don't give a shit. Charlie Murphy don't give a shit about Twitter.
Yeah, well,
he's too awesome. He lived too much crazy life. He lived too much crazy life to be getting through this new technology. Man, he just probably had a cell phone and a damn chain around his neck and a baby's mama who misses it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That sucked when I heard that noise.
I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions here based on a lot of factors, but God bless Charlie Murphy. Let him rest in peace, man.
This time, around this time, you've had a lot of moments in your career. One of them was a submission win over Calahos on this very day, 8 years ago in Honolulu, Hawaii. And that was a big deal because I remember, man, you were a big star in Hawaii. I went to Hawaii a few times to support.
Yeah, this Calahos guy, he was a damn slugger. You seen him in the corner of that new kid? Oh, my goodness. Calahos was the damn rock hands of Hawaii. And that little nugget, he Man, he got a free one on me years and years ago. A
Really?
false crack, if you will, is he got a free one after I beat Ronald John for the title at the Hawaiian water park. So he socked me in the back of the head. So we did it at the Bladesdale Arena. We settled the beef like real men.
Oh, wow.
And I respect that guy a lot. And now I see him in the corner of, this breakout star, this Hawaiian kid. He had that great match with the other kid where they just fucking said, let's stand and bang.
Oh, Max
for the
Holloway.
last minute. Yeah, there you go. Wait. Max Holloway versus who?
Ricardo Lamas in L.A.
That was, and that was the Hawaiian kid, right?
Yeah, Max Holloway, yeah. He's fighting for a world
from
title.
Hawaii.
Yep.
That son of a bitch is tough. I remember him when he was a little kid. I remember boxing with him when he was in his diapers, I think.
Yeah. I went to Hawaii a lot back in the mid-2000s. I remember you were a big name there, and I remember that fight.
That was an
against
epic
Carlos.
time of mixed martial arts, am I right?
For
that was
sure.
an epic time of mixed martial arts. In the days when we had these great shows like that, we had some freak show fights, we had the weird stuff, great entrances. There was no other time like the early 2000s in Hawaii for mixed martial arts. It was like a free time where things really, got creative. It was great.
Man, how about the damn Pride rules? They even had Pride rules at Icon, for example.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
I have benefited, and also been on the receiving end of those global rules. And global rules, man, that's what we're doing in the next Full Metal Dojo show. So on June 9th, there's a show in Thailand, and I'm anybody who wants to follow me out to Thailand, you're welcome to see some global rules action. And it'll be streamed live. We're streaming it live on Facebook Live, and it's gonna be a hell of a show. The last show we had a couple UFC vets fight in the main event, and they did fucking fantastic. It was a damn good show. Local boy Luke Adams from here in Orange County was dominating this new Iranian prospect, and just made one slip off to the guard, went to go up on a single on the guy. The guy pulled out of the single, jumped back in with a knee, and just split him open like a cantaloupe. It was amazing. He stood up, the cowboy, and said, I want to fight. But his corner, nice guy Rick, was like, no, your face is hanging off. We're going home.
Now, this event, you won't be fighting. You're just, promoting. What's your role?
Oh, no, man. Come on, buddy. Don't you know, it's Mayhem the promoter these days.
Okay.
But, look, you know me. Fight any man, anywhere, anytime, for any damn reason. But, my focus has to be on bringing the next generation of fighters to the forefront. And I think it's my responsibility as a black belt to do so.
All right. Well, hey, let's catch up soon when we have more details on the grappling event in OC. We'd like to go there and catch
man.
it.
Hey, it's really great talking to you guys.
You too.
Really
All
great
right.
talking to you guys, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Mayhem. Take
God
care.
bless.
All right, see ya. That's Jason Mayhem Miller. Grappling in the OC sometime this summer, and then, of course, on June 9th out in Thailand, MMA. Great to hear from him. Thank you to Saria for setting that up. All right, folks, we're going to take our last commercial. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. See you soon. All right, again, thank you to Saria for setting up the Mayhem Miller interview, and I got to thank myself for setting up the Alvey interview. So Sam Alvey, Jason Miller, thanks to both of you for your time. And fun show. What do you think of the Mayhem interview, guys? Aside from our delay from the satellite phones.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was fun.
I mean, I wasn't sure if what he really thought of, whatever he said about an article that was written, and so I didn't know if he was going to be furious or what. But then we moved on, so it kind of threw me off a little bit off my game.
But he didn't end the show the way he normally does.
By going to make himself a sandwich? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Peanut butter jelly sandwich and just hangs up.
This is true. We've known that guy for a long time. And he did a signing with us once at the Anaheim Convention Center back when we were Tag Radio. I know if we would have brought up one incident from there, he would have remembered, and that's when Mike Joker Guyman was at the same autograph table and signed a baby's forehead.
Yeah.
Because Mayhem, who pretty much is as nutty as they get, even he told Joker, "What's wrong with you? You can't autograph a baby. Even I wouldn't do that." Anyway, all right, folks, we got to wrap up. Tomorrow we will have Brandon Marino. He apologizes that we wasn't on yesterday's show, but there was a little bit of confusion with, the phones and all that, and time zones. He's in Denver with Dwayne Ludwig and Joseph Benavidez, but he's traveling to Nashville today, and we'll be able to have him on tomorrow's show. So there you have it. Also,
we started the song yesterday.
We didn't get to it, but I was also going to tell him, even though today was the anniversary of the Kala Host win for Mayhem, yesterday was the anniversary of the Tim Stout win. And after that, you recall what happened? Things happened in MMA. It was Mayhem Miller against Team Diaz, Jake Shields, and the Scrap Pack, basically. Anyway, folks, we are out of here. Thank you to Sam, and thank you to Goes, and of course I got to thank myself because I am fantastic. The callers, you guys brought it. I have a good list of names here. Facebook chatters, everything. You guys are the best. We'll see you all tomorrow. Be champions.